All right, let's get right into it. With the constant fire hose of AI news, it's really easy to get lost in all the noise. But every once in a while, two seemingly random events pop up that can basically reveal the entire game plan. And believe me, that's exactly what just happened.
So, in the span of just a few days, both Google and OpenAI dropped some major announcements. And on the surface, you'd think they had absolutely nothing to do with each other. I mean, one looked like a kind of boring tool for big companies, and the other felt like a mix of PR and a quirky research project.
Yep, you heard that right. Google rolled out a tool that lets businesses securely search their own private files. Meanwhile, OpenAI announced a program for military veterans and, kind of out of nowhere, revealed that its new model had cracked a famously difficult Sudoku puzzle. But what if these aren't just separate news stories? What if they're actually two sides of the very same coin, showing us two totally different strategies in the huge war for AI dominance? Well, that's what we're going to break down right here.
Okay, so let's start with Google. They quietly launched a new feature for their Gemini API, which is their big platform for developers. And they called it the File Search Tool. And while that sounds super technical, its purpose is actually incredibly powerful.
This quote really just nails Google's whole pitch to the business world. They are solving the single biggest fear that companies have about AI, data security. They're pretty much saying, look, you can have it all the power of AI, but on your terms, with your data, totally locked down.
Now, the magic behind all this is a technology called RAG. And don't worry about the jargon. All it really means is that Gemini can securely read a company's private library of documents to find answers without ever absorbing that data into its public brain. The knowledge stays in-house. It's that simple.
And the way it works is just brilliantly simple. A business connects its data, asks a plain English question, and boom, gets an instant answer, complete with sources. It's like creating an all-knowing corporate brain for any organization, almost overnight. So, here's the key takeaway. This is not just another feature. It is a complete game changer. It's secure, it's verifiable, it handles all the file types you'd expect, and get this, it's incredibly cheap to get started. Google is solving the exact problem that has kept most companies on the sidelines of the generative AI revolution. Okay, now let's hop over to the other side of this battlefield. While Google was busy focusing on corporate infrastructure, OpenAI was making a very different, very public-facing move.
They announced that they're giving a free year of ChatGPT Plus to U.S. service members and veterans. Now, the stated goal, of course, is to help with the transition to civilian life. But strategically, the real goal is much, much bigger. It's all about embedding ChatGPT into the very fabric of major public institutions. And this isn't some new strategy they just invented. I mean, think about it. This is the exact playbook Google itself used with Chrome. They made it free, they got it into schools, and they created an entire generation of users who just see it as the default browser. OpenAI is doing the same thing, just targeting different institutions to create that same familiarity and dependency. It's a geopolitical play, for sure.
But while that was their public move, their most significant announcement actually came from their research labs. And it had to do with a simple puzzle that has completely stumped AI models for years.
We're talking about Sudoku. But listen, this is not just any Sudoku. We are talking about a benchmark specifically designed to be a grand challenge for pure AI reasoning.
This is not your Sunday newspaper puzzle. The Sudoku bench uses these incredibly complex variations that force an AI to understand a whole new set of rules for each puzzle before it can even start. It's a pure test of long-term logic and spatial reasoning, something AIs have been, frankly, terrible at.
So what did OpenAI's new model, which we're all assuming is a version of GPT-5, actually achieve? It got a solve rate of 33%. Now, I know what you might be thinking. 33%, that doesn't sound huge, but you have to understand the context here. Just look at this. Before this breakthrough, the solve rate for these kinds of complex puzzles by any AI model was basically zero, zilch, nada. So this wasn't just some small improvement, it was a massive leap. It proved a huge jump in an AI's ability to actually reason, not just spit back processed data. So now we have our two puzzle pieces, right? Google is building a super practical tool for businesses. OpenAI is pushing the absolute limits of fundamental AI reasoning. And what this reveals are two completely different paths to winning the future.
There was this quote from an analysis of these events that just says it all. GPT-5 can solve Sudoku, Gemini can now solve companies. This just perfectly frames the core strategic fight. Do you go for immediate, practical application, or do you chase raw, fundamental intelligence?
And this table really breaks down their two opposing philosophies. You've got Google playing the long game with corporations, using practical tech like RAG to own the business ecosystem. Then you have OpenAI playing the public game, pushing the boundaries of raw AI to win hearts, minds, and massive influence.
And here's the core argument for Google's whole approach. As impressive as solving Sudoku is, it's not a skill that businesses are exactly lining up to pay for. But an AI that can instantly understand legal contracts, financial reports, and a decade of customer emails, that is invaluable.
So, this is the ultimate bet each company is making. Google is betting that the key to winning is context, understanding the specific, messy data of the real world. OpenAI is betting that pure reasoning power is the ultimate prize, and that useful applications will naturally follow from that.
Google's endgame here is to become the new Windows for business, that invisible, absolutely essential layer that every single company runs on, where all corporate knowledge is understood and accessed through Gemini. They don't want to just be another app. They want to be the entire operating system.
OpenAI, on the other hand, has a much more philosophical and you could argue a more ambitious goal. They want to create a general intelligence that can solve humanity's biggest problems and in the process make their tool as common and essential as a web browser. And all this leaves us with the one big question. In the long run, who wins? Is the future of AI about practical, contextual tools that make money today, or is it about the moonshot chase for true general reasoning? The AI that learns to solve companies, or the one that learns to solve puzzles? The next few years are going to tell us which bet pays off.